Hey, Mike, what do Kelly Slater and PT have in common?
I don't know. They're both world champs?
Nope. They both own Endless Summer box set.
Oh my God, rad. You guys, you can get it too. The link's in the show notes. Hey, this is Mike with the Quivercast, brought to you by quiverbuilder.com, an online community where you buy, sell, and surf for your next magic board. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Quivercast. This is Mike, and I got a couple special guests here today. I got Pete and Josh. Do you guys want to say your last names?
It's Servi.
Servi.
Well, actually,
Josh Servi.
What was our very first episode? We're doing an episode, and I was like, do we call you Servi or Servi? And he's like, well, half of my family calls it Servi, and the other half calls... I'm like, what do I call you, dude?
Your preference.
Your preference. He's so easygoing. I can even pick how I want to say his name.
Oh, awesome.
And I'm Pete Gustin.
Pete Gustin. Okay, so we got two buddies here that go surfing together. Do you guys want to explain why you guys go surfing together?
Well,
sure.
Yeah. I mean, I used to try surfing alone because I lost my eyesight and actually decided to take up surfing. I thought it would be a sport that I could do. I used to play a lot of sports, and as my eyesight got worse and worse and worse to the degree it is now, where all I see is kind of blobs and shapes, I was like, I don't know, there's not much detail to a wave. Maybe I can try and do surfing. And I was trying to learn alone. I was out there trying to catch waves and figure it out. And after about, I don't know, maybe about a year, maybe 14 months of just getting my ass handed to me, trying to figure it out by myself, I figured it'd be time to try and find a coach. And someone helped me out there and call out waves and see what I was doing wrong and kind of try and correct it all. And eventually I got hooked up with Josh through a local surf company called Surf Ride.
Sweet. And so, Josh, have you, were you like a coach already?
Yeah. I mean, I was doing the Surf Ride surf camps, so like
Okay.
summer camps, you know? Yep. And then when I was not doing that, I would just always have ads up for surf lessons, you know? And usually people from out of state. Pete's from Boston, so that worked.
Yeah, East Coaster.
Very out of state.
Yeah. But yeah, people from out of state just looking to surf. And I really always do think that surfing is pretty much trial and error, you know? Or at least for getting into it. So yeah. I always find it very easy and super fun to go out there and teach somebody how to surf, or at least learn some etiquette, you know, make everyone else happy out there too. And then, so I had been doing the coaching for a little bit, and then Pete kind of took over as my main project, essentially, because he stole my eyes. So. Or he wants them.
What motivated you to want to surf, Pete?
I'd always been active. Like, my eyesight has been fading slowly, like very slowly, and I'm actually thankful for that. It would kind of... it would be horrifying if I had perfect eyesight yesterday and then woke up today with the way it is. I still have all the old habits of looking at people. Like, I think I still fake out a fair amount of people that are like, you're looking at me. I'm like, wow.
I don't think a blind person that sees all black looks the opposite way when the person's talking to them, because they can hear the voice.
You hear the sound, and you just kind of like look at the sound. So I still have a lot of those habits of like looking at people, and sometimes it's by the way, that's because this is all in audio. Josh isn't panting heavily. That's the Doberman in the background. He was like right next to the mic going, Josh is really excited about my story, but not that excited. But yeah, so I'd always been active. I played football when I was in high school. I couldn't see the ball, but I played offensive line. I was a competitive swimmer, competitive sailor. I used to play ultimate frisbee when I was much younger.
You even shot guns?
I've shot guns.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I was a skater when I was younger. Okay. East Coast, I never really had the opportunity to surf, and it just... I'd watch music videos in like the 80s when I was a kid, and you'd see like, you know, a Van Halen video with like surfers or surfing, or you'd watch Baywatch in the 90s and they were surfing. And
actually Kelly Slater, you might have saw him surfing there.
Yeah, I mean, it was totally foreign to me. That was just something that West Coasters did.
Yeah, did you ever contemplate surfing on the East Coast?
I never even thought about it.
Okay.
We're in my...
And you're from Boston.
Yeah.
So how far is that from the first, like... beach that has waves. This couldn't be too far, could it?
I'm told that there were some beaches in the South Shore of Massachusetts. People go down there and catch them. There's some surfing
very secret.
Yeah, you don't want.
Don't go there, I guess.
There's some in New Hampshire.
Probably
I guess.
don't want to.
What, Ben Gravy's down in Jersey?
Jersey,
I think. Yeah. I mean, they're just. It wasn't. I was a sailor. I was always on the water, and I was a competitive sailor, and that was.
So you knew the ocean.
Yeah, and I did some jet ski racing in New Hampshire when I was a kid. Again, when I could see a little better. I was really into sailing. I won a couple national championships, and I was very, very into sailing. So surfing never crossed my mind. The closest I got to it, I think there's a surfing Smurf. Where all audio, I'm pointing in my studio. There's a little surfing Smurf that decorates my office.
Looks like you wiped out the...
All right. And that was the closest I ever got to surfing was I had a Smurf with a little surfboard, but me personally, I'd never even considered it. It didn't seem like anything. I'd spent a lot of my life sailing on lakes or farther out in the ocean, and if I saw a wave, it was just kind of something to get my boat in to go a little faster. But hopping on a board and riding it, I never even considered it.
So you moved to the West Coast. Why did you move to the West Coast? For work? Or?
It was mostly for work. I'm a voice actor.
Okay.
And I was doing a lot of work with movie trailer houses. So the films, the previews, the trailers that you see, and they work late. It's a hard schedule for those guys. And you get the voice is the last thing that you do when you do a trailer. Everything's all together. And then they come in and they go, when the world is against this man, or whatever the hell the lines are, coming this weekend, rated R, all that stuff. It's the last thing they do. Okay. And so they put out auditions last minute, last thing, and it would come at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, my time, East Coast.
Right.
And so my girlfriend and I, Maggie, at the time, we were living in the East Coast and would try and go out to dinner. And it would be 9 o'clock. You think you're safe to go out and grab a beer at 9, but no, we have to go running back to the studio. And it was happening constantly. Like, we were always, we never had a night out.
Okay.
And so for me, the idea of buying the 3 hours back and finishing my day at 6 as opposed to 9 sounded like it would be great.
Yeah.
And also the fact that the winters in Boston kind of suck.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So work and weather.
Yeah, work and weather.
Okay.
And we came out for a vacation here. We're in Carlsbad, and we came out for a vacation. Now, this is after 37, 8 years of living either in Boston or New York, and we came out here in December, and it was cool, weather, temperature-wise, but it wasn't
freezing.
Yeah, I wasn't shoveling, it wasn't freezing. My eyelids weren't freezing together because I was crying in the cold, and I was like, I could get into this life. And on that vacation, we put in an offer on the land that we're sitting on right now.
Okay, cool.
We just bought the land and started building the house.
Okay. So how long did you live here before you decided, hey, I want to go surfing? Why did you want to go surfing? I mean, you kind of talked about it before, but where was that jump?
It was we were here for 2 months.
Okay.
And everywhere, you move to a new place and you don't know anybody, and you just kind of try and to start a conversation with people. In Boston, it's pretty easy. If you start a conversation with someone you don't know, you just literally walk up to them and go, sports! And then they'll talk to you
about the Celtics.
Yeah, they'll talk about the Celtics, the Red Sox, the
California,
Patriots, the Bruins.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, literally.
So then you're here and surf.
Yeah, so that was the thing. It went from I'm walking around here. We're trying to meet
pizza
people.
port, and everyone's
I'm like,
you heard the words. Did you get out there today?
Yeah, totally. That was everybody's like, oh, did you get out there? And I'm like, I was outside. I took my dog for a walk. I'm like, what do you mean out where? And I quickly realized that, and it was tough because in Boston too, sport, you just say sports, and I worked at a sports radio station, so I knew just being around it, I knew everything. So it was super easy for me to go out and meet people. I just go to a bar and they'd be like, Patriots. I'm like, I'll tell you everything about them that's going on in the news today, and I'd start up easy conversations. And out here, didn't know anybody. Nobody gave a crap about the sports, and everybody, like Josh said,
I don't give a crap about sports.
Today?
Yeah.
And
Padres suck.
Yeah. They've
Chargers
getting better.
they're
getting better. And Chargers are gone.
Chargers left, yeah. So I just kind of, between the fact that I thought it'd be a good way to meet people, to get out in the community, to have a conversation, I'd always been super active. And in those 2 years before I moved out here, really all I was doing was just lifting weights in my house. And that was my idea of being active, because I couldn't ride a bike anymore. Skateboarding was mostly out. No pickup basketball with my friends. Couldn't do frisbee. I mean, you name it. I just couldn't do anything anymore. But like I said, I kind of figured like maybe I could feel a wave. I said I'd sailed for a long time, so I had a good sense of the ocean. And I just kind of figured, like, I don't know, I could try it. And it was funny, the first guy I asked about it was the dude, I think he was, like, doing our plumbing in the house. And I was like, is surfing hard? He's like, nah. And I'm like, can I just grab a board and do it? He's like, yeah. And he's like, how tall are you? I'm like 5'9". He's like, grab a 5'9" board, you'll be good. I'm like, okay. And like, he made it sound
advice from a plumber.
Yeah. He made it sound super ridiculously easy.
And what'd you find out?
Well, so I went and got a 8-foot foam board from Catch Surf.
That's relatively smart.
They told us, but it wasn't a wave storm or wave storm.
Yeah. You went top line.
Yeah,
it was foam that doesn't just smash in on itself within a year.
But I felt like in retrospect, the wave storm would have given me a little more confidence. Like I feel like you can just stand up on that immediately. It's like riding a raft. The Catch Surf, I mean, I was riding whitewash and just falling left and falling right. And I do remember I was in the shower after my first or second session, and I was like getting upset. I'm like, this is something like I thought it would be easy. I thought it would be something I could do. You know, I had so much taken away from me over my life. Like I can't do visually so much stuff. And I'm really thinking like my eyesight's not super holding me back. At least at this point, I was catching whitewash.
Yeah.
And I was getting really upset. I'm like, I can't even stand up on this stupid board. I'm like, this is supposed to be easy. You know, we watched
once again from a plumber, but go ahead.
Yeah. My girlfriend and I, we put some YouTube videos on. I listened to the description. The guy's like, wait for a wave, paddle, and pop up. I'm like, easy. And then I was falling left and right. And then when I was catching anything, I was kind of just catching some closeouts. We went to a spot where nobody was, and I thought it was perfect because nobody was there, and I'm like, great, I don't have to.
They weren't there for a reason.
They weren't there for a reason. Yeah, I was just catching closeouts and just getting my ass handed to me, and that's why. So I mean, it wasn't until I met Josh that he started like taking me to decent spots and putting me in the right place. There's a lot more to it.
Okay, so Josh, where did you guys transition board wise, and was he in the right equipment at the start?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I always definitely recommend to start on a foam board just because the more surface area, the better. And but with him, essentially, it's I've been coaching kids and I've coached like an 85-year-old, 95-year-old dude who
rad.
Yeah, and the difference here with Pete is that like there's a couple differences. I mean, the biggest one is once he finally learned to stand up and everything. All that good
stuff. Was that because of you? Were you able to stand up before?
Before I met him, I was. Yeah, I mean, I'd done about 9 months I think I'd done about 9 months of whitewash before I decided to call Josh. So I had the pop up. I mean, I was standing.
You're confident about the stuff.
Mostly. I mean, I didn't want to call a coach until I had some basics because I was kind of afraid to be like, I don't know how to surf. I'm not a kid, and I'm blind. Like I felt like that was a lot. Okay. So I wanted to get a base sense of some of the skill set before I called them, so I knew a little bit of what was going on. I think.
Yeah. And then like with the boards, essentially, like I mean, imagine like being blind, just like closing your eyes on a wave. So like I obviously usually foam is your friend, and more volume, more surface area is your friend when learning and all that stuff. But I almost think there was a point where he had too much foam, to where like. It would be standing too straight up,
Yeah.
Or he wouldn't stand too straight up because he's always being prepared or trying to prepare for the worst, which he doesn't know is coming. So, like, completely clean wave, and he's very low, ready for, like, a gnarly late drop,
Yeah. So, stink bud style?
Like not quite stink bug. He's got a better style than a stink bug.
No, now he does. He rips.
Yeah, straight up.
The YouTube movie.
Yeah,
you're ripping. I'm like super impressed. I'll be honest.
Yeah, with you. And then the hugest thing is definitely like late drops. So obviously with a longer board, much easier to dig the nose. Where like something a little bit more mid length, something that still has foam, but gives him a little bit of rocker and shortness to.
And how long have you guys worked together?
What, 4 years?
4 years.
Oh, it's been that long. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, so. Yeah.
He was actually the first guy to like understand. God, if I had to listen to one more person tell me get a longer board, I was getting so annoyed with everybody. Like, you want to get the longer board and get into it. Like everything to me happens last second. Like especially when
and
I'm
surfing
myself.
Is all timing.
It's and I don't have a sense of like, oh, the wave's coming. I'm gonna get ready. I'm gonna. It's all like wave go. And so I need a board that like flips around in an instant. Or when I'm on it, I need to like turn in an instant. And the long boards are just. I mean, it's just too slow. GoPro. And every other person I ever spoke to was telling me to get a 10-foot longboard. I'm like, that does not work. So Josh actually listened to me. I mean, I didn't feel like it was...
Sweet, I did a good job.
Yeah. Well, I didn't feel like it was even rocket science. Like, no one wants to listen, but Josh is like, okay, he wants to ride a shorter board. This is the reason he needs it. We'll work with that. And
so you guys went to went shopping together? Huh?
I don't think we've ever really gone shopping together.
No.
Two dudes don't really go shopping together. No, but surfboards, a little different.
Yeah. I did go with my girlfriend. We went to surf ride. Okay. We bought the first board from a dude you've interviewed before, Ben.
Yep.
And he sold me a 6'2" pod mod from Channel Islands.
Right. Great choice, Ben. Great choice.
We went from my first board was an 8-foot foamy from Catch Surf. Does that have a name or just 8-foot foamy?
I think it's called the Log.
Is it? That's a log? Okay.
Maybe the 8-foot. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Either way, it's a big.
They both work.
Yeah. And then I went to a 6'4" foamy called the Odyssey.
Okay, I've seen
from
those.
Catch Surf. That was my second one. Then Ben sold me the 6'2" pod mod. It was the pop out version, but it was an epoxy board, like a real
just
board.
A fun shape, small wave gear.
Okay.
And it had like
you would love it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think it's got like 40 liters in it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. But shorter, so you had a lot more of that ability to make those later drops, even though now you don't really like the pod mod.
Yep.
Yeah, even just moving the board.
Yeah. You can actually duck dive that thing. That was riding the foamies before I even got like decent. I mean, first of all, I duck dive based on sound, like I hear it.
So that's one of my questions. Yeah.
So it's a little. Josh will, it's coming.
Josh doesn't yell. You do.
I'm like, it's coming. Like you'll have to duck dive this one, and then he starts duck diving. I'm like, damn it, I didn't tell him when.
Is he coming up and it's taking up?
Oh yeah.
Sometimes
he tries to roll in the GoPro when I'm getting smashed in the face. I'm like, you got that one, didn't you? I was like, yeah.
Yeah. I think a biggest point there is the aspect like it's so interesting because like I've done an episode where I'm wearing a blindfold and I have my buddy coach me into waves.
Oh, okay.
And
this
so
is
like
interesting.
Yeah, and so like the whole thing to me. What, smell like beautiful flowers? No. But the whole interesting thing to me was the simple aspect of like not being able to see. Obviously, you're not going to know when the wave's going to come and hit you or whatnot. So you're almost always reserving a breath in the weirdest way. So you're like literally tiring yourself out so hard just by being like, okay, be prepared for not being able to breathe, or be prepared for salt water in the mouth and having to choke it up. So
interesting.
Yeah, with duck diving and not being able to see and having to go off the sound, you're definitely taking a lot of water and whitewash to the face and up the nose.
Yeah, a lot of times in the paddle out, I get out there and Josh is just like, cool, we're out. And I'm like, and I'd like to think.
And he blames it on Superdog because it's just all
super fit. Like, you're a super fit guy.
Yeah,
he's way more fit than I am.
I mean, I do. I exercise all the time. I try and
I was going to say more fit than me, but.
But it's so funny when I get out there and I'm just dying. It's because literally, like he said, I'm just holding a breath constantly because I never know when I'm going to take a big one in the face, wave in the face, and not be able to breathe again.
Don't get it. But yeah, I think that's a very interesting point, and even along those lines with not being able to breathe, it's just it's so hard to fathom until you really put yourself in that position or try and emulate that, if that's the right word.
I'm thinking about to try that one day. When it's like 1 foot.
I mean, I don't want to suggest to go blindfold yourself and go surf, but
super like. I don't think I'd be comfortable. I think.
I was super uncomfortable. Yeah,
he went full on. It's an episode on the Blind Surfer YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube,
everyone go.
If you type in blind surfer versus blindfolded surfer, and it's like no joke, he didn't half-ass it. Like he completely went out there, no eyesight, and then I mean, there's so many things that people don't. So we had a different coach, a guy named Xavier.
Yeah, my buddy Xavier.
Okay. And the very first wave, Xavier's like, it's coming. And you go to paddle, and you're paddling it like this.
Yeah, completely
like
sideways
angle to the wave. Yeah. And then you're like, where is it? And he's laughing. He's like, you missed
and like, you could, obviously you feel it come under, and you got this like bump going on here, and you're like, I'm sideways. And you're like, was that a wave? Like, could I have caught that? It's all weird.
So a question towards Josh is, does it feel the same at all, remotely the same, surfing regular and surfing blindfolded? I mean, like you said, you didn't know which way even.
Yeah. My quote was that it was like smelling flowers for the first time.
Yeah.
And that probably makes no sense because
if you think about it,
Pete's like, yo, my life is not like smelling flowers the whole time. But the one wave that I did get that I was actually essentially able to ride with a blindfold, it was really cool. Like definitely all feel. 100% in no way the same as being able to surf. Like, I had no idea where the top of the lip was, but I could feel my rail digging in, and obviously I've surfed many waves.
Yeah.
So I had a feel, but like, you're like always in trim almost, even being like 20 feet out of the pocket, you know? Just because you're gliding with your eyes closed. So nothing like it with your eyes open.
How big was it when you went out?
It was kind of fun. It was a nice little like 3 to 5 day.
Oh, that's pretty
much bucks. Yeah, and it was kind of like hucking too. Yeah, so
kind of picked
a couple of nose dives, but
couple.
Yeah, every wave but one.
Yeah.
Which you say on your Instagram, you're like, I'm known for taking the late drop.
Yes,
he's mastered it.
You're pretty good.
Because again, everything's coming last minute. I'm not always in the right spot.
Actually, it's like last second.
It's very last second.
There's no minute.
There's at least one per I say episode, because we basically film every time I'm surfing these days.
Okay,
one per session, one per episode, where Josh is like, late.
I'm getting better too at like trying to voice that, like, because, I'll be coaching you into a wave and I'll be like, perfect, it's perfect. Then it's like, oh shit, he's 2 seconds too far forward.
Yeah.
So I'm like, late.
Are you even getting close to the shoulder, or like he's in the middle of the peak? Like, how do you line that up? That's challenging.
It is. I mean, I like, the best way I've explained it is just imagine yourself over there trying to catch a wave. I'm over there trying to catch a wave. So you're just coaching somebody in. But even then, very, very difficult, and especially to get it in that perfect spot on the shoulder, and we have awesome waves around here, but it's still mostly beach breaks, so there's not always a immediate shoulder or a spot to know where the shoulder's coming, so it's always interesting.
But I'm not afraid of the late drop anymore. I take it as when he's calling late, I prep. I'll get it'll be.
You're just going for it still.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to waste a wave at this point. I'll take anything that's coming my way.
How much are you guys getting in the water together?
We go every week.
At least once a week is the thing.
I'd like to go both days of the weekend, but the winters.
It's cold.
We bailed on a few Sundays. It's a little cold.
So you're a weekend warrior.
I mean, my job is highly demanding time wise. Totally. I mean, I need to be available to be on the microphone 6A through. I mean, I say 6P, but I can still get called up to 8 or 9 at night, and I just need to be within shouting distance of a microphone all the time. I mean, if I could be out in the water like 3-5 days a week, well, there's actually, I haven't verbalized this to a lot of people. If I could, I probably would, but then I've got this tendency to overdo everything that I do. Like when I took up sailing, I didn't want to just like be a sailor. I ended up being like a nationally competitive sailor, and like everything I kind of take too far, and then I turn it into work. I turn it into work and a job.
And then you lose the joy out of it?
I do, and I do feel like if I had the ability to go out 3, 4, 5 days a week, I'd probably be out there for like 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I'd totally be turning it into like this thing. Like, just, it would be, I need to go out and I need to practice.
Right.
Like now it's my weekend enjoyment. I love it. It's actually, I get to look forward to it Monday through Friday, so that when I get in the water, it's my release, it's my joy, it's my enjoyment, it's my freedom. I mean, again, we're in my office now. Right behind you is my booth. It's about 5 feet by 7 feet inside. I spend my entire day in a 5 foot by 7 foot
dark room,
reading copy all day. So getting to look forward to going out and surfing, whether it's once or twice a weekend, is a real joy and a real release. So it's almost, I might be justifying my work schedule, but it does keep it. It keeps it exciting as opposed to a work thing for me.
So off of surfing a little bit, you said. So I said dark room. Can you tell it's a dark room?
Yeah, I've got, so inside.
So how's your eyesight?
It's funny, like a lot of people will come into the house and I fake it so much better in my own house. There's a few videos online like, you're walking around. How can you walk around? I'm like, dude, it's my house. You can't close your eyes and find your way around your own house. Inside, I
can't, but if you did it enough times, I'm sure.
It just takes a little bit of practice. Inside I can still navigate my own home. If I'm going into someone else's home, I'm going to need some direction. There's a door up there. The bathroom's over there.
Where's the beer?
Yeah, where's the beer?
Fridge.
P 7 inches to the left. You're missing. stuff like that. I mean, it's gotten worse. It's gotten a lot worse over time. And when we go outside and I'm in an unfamiliar area, people will if you're watching videos, Josh is really good at being in my head and being my eyes. You'll hear him.
Same with Maggie.
Yeah, Maggie too. As we're walking, we get the curb in 3, 2, 1, and I step off the curb because I didn't see it coming. When we're walking downstairs, they're calling out the stairs for me. This set is 8, next one's 9, next one's 11. Then you're at the bottom.
So if you skate, Yeah.
And then telling me to, cross the street now, or we're walking down the street and someone's coming toward us, keep right. I need a lot of direction. I really do. These days I need it's a little frustrating having been someone that used to, I played football for God's sake. And now I'm someone who can't walk down a sidewalk without the risk of crashing into someone. I still have some eyesight left, and oddly, I'm super thankful for it.
Okay.
It's better than seeing nothing at all, but it's not much.
So I don't want to. I don't know how to say it, but
I think I can hit your point without you asking it. What you've said to me, and obviously I can't see your eyes or eyesight, but imagine an overexposed camera.
Okay.
So super whited out, but if there's a person in the image and the whole rest of the image is blank, he's going to be able to see the blank or the outline of that person.
Okay.
So if it walks across,
trying to visualize that.
Yeah.
In my head.
Yeah, just too much sun.
Yeah, we did. There's another episode on the Blind Surfer channel called "What Can a Blind Guy See?" and we all worked together to do the best we could to. It was like a mix of filters. There was the white balance, then there was blur, and then there was wavy. So someone was trying to. I felt like they were trying to diminish what I was doing. I think a lot of people do that. They're like, "You can see just fine." And what I said to him, I was like, "It's like sticking your head in a fish tank, trying to look through that, someone stirring the water with a stick, and then shining a light in your face. It's a mess. Yeah. It's just a mess.
You can see something go by if it's right there.
There's something, this is another thing I've told people, I'm on the sidewalk, and let's say, for the sake of argument, someone walks by me. Now, it could have been someone. It could have been a person. It also could have been Bigfoot. It also could have been a green alien from outer space. It could have been anything.
Stop right there, please. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
That's a whole other topic. I really want to have a conversation with you about that now.
I feel like he's walked by me a few times on the streets of Oceanside, so I'm pretty sure
that's me with stilts.
Yeah. So, I see what I expect to see. So if something walks by me on the sidewalk, I expect it's a person. But like I'm saying, it could be an escaped gorilla from the zoo. It's
called putting 2 and 2 together and utilizing the brain.
That's the answer to so many of the. Now that I've put myself out there, and I get so many questions, and the answer to basically every question is use your brain. You can figure it out. Just figure out with a little minimal amount of input that you've got. Everything else, how do you find your way around your house? Well, I memorized it. How are you and Josh walking on the sidewalk? Well, he's telling me where to go. There's always an answer.
Walk straight for the next 50 feet.
So the two-part question. One is, why did you do the YouTube? And let's talk about the YouTube channel and the movie for that matter, which is excellent. Everyone should go and see. What's the title?
Finding a Way: The Story of the Blind Surfer.
Yes, excellent movie.
It's really cool. I'm featured in it, and I like my parts.
Yes, your parts are good.
What motivated you to want to make that movie?
Let me start with the channel first.
The channel.
The movie came much later. The channel, I had everywhere I go. When I was in Boston, people always found the story of the blind guy that reads copy for a living interesting, because I don't actually read my copy. I use an ear prompter and I listen to it. Someone sends me copy to read. This weekend on ABC, that's Super Duck sneezing. This weekend on ABC, Supermarket Sweep returns. So I'm not reading that. I've got a little earpiece in with one of those robot voices saying, "This weekend on ABC, Supermarket Sweep returns," and I repeat after it. So I'd always done tons and tons of interviews about how I became a voice actor, even though I can't see. Then when I came out here and started surfing a little bit, again, people are like, "Oh, a guy that surfs that can't see." So we did a story with Fox 5 in San Diego.
Okay.
And, it was they literally just focused on this blind guy learning how to surf or surfing. And so a couple months later, we were at a Carlsbad Board Riders Club event, and Taylor Knox walks up to me and he's like, "Dude, saw your story. You make me want to be a better person." And I was like, oh, holy crap! Like Taylor Knox is like
watching Fox News.
Yeah, he like saw.
You're like, no, we know where he stands.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Fox. It was regular Fox. It was regular Fox, not Fox News. It was the news on regular Fox. But then I started thinking about it. Like, I'd done all these interviews about how I learned to read copy, and that's like a great story. It's fine. I was a little sick of telling it. But then I realized, like, surfing might even be a little more relatable. Like, if I could tell the story to people about how I lost my eyesight, but still managed to pick up this new sport, I feel like that would be... I don't know. I felt like that would be inspiring or interesting or motivating.
Yeah, for sure.
And the people at Fox did a nice job of telling the story, but
really good waves that day.
We got some super lucky. And Maggie, my girlfriend at the time, now fiance, wife, whatever she is, and Josh and I were talking about it, and we felt like they did a good job with that story, but we felt like there was so much more to tell. Yeah. Like so much more.
Well, probably because there's like questions gone unanswered from that.
Yeah, that thing exactly.
Many more chapters, right?
To
tell.
Exactly. And I thought, like, what, these days I don't have to wait for a news outlet to come out and record me necessarily. We can do it ourselves. Thank you, YouTube. Sick. And I asked Josh like a couple weeks later. I was like, "Would you be into doing a YouTube channel?" He's like, "Yeah, sure,
so
totally."
Sick. Yeah. And then and the birth. How many episodes do you have out?
Right now, at the moment we're talking, I think we're going to be releasing episode 62.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I've watched several of them. But yeah, I didn't realize there was that many.
It's one every week, and we started January the 1st, 2020. Our very first episode was January 1st.
Oh, wow.
So a year and a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it's just team effort here?
Yeah, and then the documentary came up pretty much because our other friend, Brooks, who does our drone footage, essentially, he had made a documentary about another person before, and he essentially just wanted to do the same with you, obviously because you have an awesome story, and he's a super awesome filmer and editor and creator. So
has with all the channels and the movie and so forth, and you being out there on the news and so forth. How about any other blind people who have come to you, spoke to you, and been your inspiration to them? And have you surfed with anybody else?
No, I actually feel like that would be a slight shit show. It would kind of be asking...
Well, maybe. I mean, Josh would be there.
Yeah.
You mean duplicate Josh's?
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of asking a lot of Josh to like keep an eye on me and someone else. I'm sure he's fully capable, but it seems like an awful lot.
I think it's a good idea. I think it'd be a good one.
Yeah.
But you've met the Blind Justice guy interviewed you? He was really cool. The Blind
Justice guy, there's a local guy by the name of Josh Loya, and he's super cool. I believe he's... I've never asked. It's like a weird, like you don't ask a woman their age and you don't ask a blind guy how blind they are. I feel
like a thing?
I didn't know that.
Because it's hard to describe. It's like hard to quantify. Like we spent 5 minutes trying to explain how horrible my vision is. I think he might be closer to black than I am. Okay. But at any rate, we got to meet him. We went to an event. Who put it on? It might have been put on for Waves. By Waves for All, which is a local organization that literally helps blind people and disabled people get out there and surf.
Yeah, I worked with. I've done it several times as Waves of Impact.
Okay,
cool.
And they actually had a blind kid there.
Nice.
I didn't actually help that kid, so I was helping other kids. But he did pretty good. And the guy's kind of shows up every time, so it was pretty rad.
That's super rad.
Honestly, it's mostly because of my schedule that I haven't done a lot of surfing with other, because we've got those 2 hours on Saturday, and then we've got like an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours on Sunday that we get to go out there, and there's always a chance that, I mean, I'm really on call, like really on call.
Yeah.
There's always a chance that we could be out there on the water, and we'll have to go running in.
He's a slave.
So, slave to the job. So it's a little tough for me to organize with people ahead of time.
Yeah.
But you have definitely made a lot of, obviously due to COVID, some online friends through the community.
So I was looking online for other blind surfers and so forth, just to kind of relate to your story. There's this guy, Derek. The guy that surfed pipe.
Derek.
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of cool stories out there. There's one dude with one leg who's surfing with his arm up front.
Okay,
it's pretty wild. I don't know his name, but yeah. What about Derek?
Yeah, well, just him, the fact of just paddling out a pipe.
That means that Pete has to have a goal of surfing pipeline.
Well, that was my goal before I knew about him. He wants me to snowboard.
No, more so the goal for me and him is definitely getting him to a wave pool. The same wave.
Can I go with you guys?
Oh, yes. The more the merrier.
So
yeah. But if we could get him to a wave pool, a repeat of the same wave, I think the progression there would be...
Right. Yeah, I never thought about that.
Derek's been doing it. He's been doing it longer than I hadn't even held the surfboard until I was 39 years old.
And which is also impressive because your ability. So let's take
age is a thing too.
Well, your ability. I think someone with full sight, I think you're almost better than a lot of them.
I mean, for someone that started
I've seen the videos.
39.
Yeah. Okay.
But Derek, so he was named after Derek Ho.
Right.
Yeah.
And so his dad wanted him to be a surfer ever since he was a little kid. So he was born in the water. He was totally going for it. Whereas me, I waited till I was 39.
Living in Carlsbad, Southern California.
Before I even grabbed a surfboard.
Yeah.
And I feel like my progression's been pretty good, but I also feel like I almost feel like I don't want to say wasted because I did a lot of other things in my life before then. But there's so much time that
you wasted your life by not surfing early.
Well, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm in this rut. I need to hurry up and get better. I want to be good. I want to get better and be able to do more. His goal, and I'd like the wave pool, but there's something about that's. Even if I do amazing in a wave pool and get the feel, it's irreplicatable if I go out in the ocean. I want to be able to be good enough that I can.
Indonesia. It'll be the same.
Yeah, Indonesia. Sure. We'll just get over there tomorrow.
Do a little.
I want to be able to. My current goal is to be able to carve the face with some degree of confidence and regularity.
Yeah.
We just recently got me going down the face of the wave as opposed to shooting straight out in front. I think. And
I saw that, or maybe I don't know where were you guys. And there's a good left. He's going left.
Yeah, that was at Tamarack. Yeah?
That was Tamarack. Yeah.
Okay. It looked like I was going to say Terramar or something. But
yeah.
Yeah. It looked.
He was getting the angles.
It was like a shoulder hit high wave. Almost.
Yeah.
Solid.
And we've done many things in effect to try and get the wake surfing was a huge one. I think for wake surfing behind the boat, and so feeling the pocket of the wave and essentially being able to. Yeah, I think that's an awesome goal, and that is what we strive for each session is getting him in the pocket to where he has the opportunity to even try and progress in that area.
But it's so hard because you look ahead of you as the surfing person, you look ahead and you go, okay, I feel like it's going to break at this point. I've got this much room to operate in.
Math going bizarre in the brain right there.
You're doing all these. So, and me, even that wave that I got, I think it hasn't even come out at the time of recording this, but it'll be in an episode called Blind Surfer Buddy, I think. I'm riding left. I'm going, and I don't know how long it's going for. I don't know if it's about to break on me at that moment. I don't know if I've got 30 seconds before it breaks. At the end of the wave, it does break in front of me, and I just crash into it.
It basically goes straight into a barrel the other way.
Yeah.
I got a question. So do you like to go backside or front side? Prefer.
So I go...
Goofy foot.
Yeah, I'm goofy. Yeah. Going left is probably my stronger way. Well...
I don't know, actually.
The backside, when you send me backside... I feel just as confident, but I haven't done a turn. I think
you've got a better entry into your backside and initiating that turn or going sideways than you do front side. But once you do go front side and initiate that, getting into the pocket, you ride it better.
Yeah, I feel like if I do get a turn coming up in the future, it's going to be a front side wave, backside turn. I feel like that's probably where I'm going to get it. That just feels the most comfortable. But he's right. For some reason, when I take off and I go backside right, my takeoff is always at a harder angle. I don't know why that is.
Yeah. I think it's like front shoulder leaning. You're just geared that way.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But it's so in order for me to carve the face, I'm basically just going to have to get in and turn almost immediately, not knowing whether I'm turning prematurely or whether I'm last minute turn. I'm just going to have to do it. And then if I get good enough, maybe I'll turn again and again. And eventually I'm going to crash into the wave going.
Then eventually you'll be in the NSSA Masters Division.
Hopefully. It'll never be me reading the wave and knowing where and what to do. I'm just going to be doing it until the wave kicks me out of it.
Okay. Now, what is your, you said it's your wife, Maggie?
Yeah.
What does she think about you surfing? Is she stoked on it?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it was a little
stoked on it.
There's a little bit of me.
I like that.
Getting a little overly excited. We moved out to San Diego, and like I said, my free time is limited, and I was spending most of our free time with me at the beach.
Okay.
But then I think she saw how much it meant to me and what it did for me, and she's involved with it. She's actually our filmer of the channel now, and she's been highly supportive. It's really
she loves the beach too in the summer.
Yeah.
How do you know which way you're facing? Like, is he ever like he paddles out and then he kind of drifts and he's all of a sudden facing north and south?
I think unless it's
or is there a feeling to it?
Unless it's a super gray day, he can usually see the distinction between what is that called? The horizon.
Line,
where it's bright.
That does get tricky though. On so I can see like sky is light, ocean is dark, and then you, like you said, you see the horizon. You keep turning until you see like the land. Maybe
and a wave is the horizon.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Or a shark or whale coming at you. Something rising.
Or the end of the world.
Yeah. Or tsunami. But yeah, on a gray day, which you get a lot of in the mornings,
right?
It's just all like everything's gray.
Yeah, when the color matches the watercolor matches the sky.
That super sucks for me. I'll just be paddling at like the wrong direction. Entirely.
Right, that's why. Yeah. So there's not is there a feeling to it? Also,
there is. So in those days,
do you feel the swells kind of?
Yeah.
On those water days, pushing forward.
I don't necessarily need Josh to like line me up going straight towards the water. I get a sense of. I sit. That was another thing. People are like, you got to sit higher on your board. I'm like, why? To see those waves that I can't see coming? I sit super low on the board, basically with the water line like up to my nipples. Like I'm really down in the water because that's where I feel the sucking motion of the waves. And it does give me a little bit more of a. We were talking about the late drops I get. It would be even later if I didn't feel that sucking thing. Kind of. It sucks you out right before it comes to you.
Exactly.
So I sit super low to feel that. So when I'm by myself, that's what I rely on to catch the wave. And even when I'm with Josh, I like to sit super low and kind of feel what the ocean is doing. And that's how I line myself up with what's going on beneath the water line.
So since you're more of a weekend warrior, which that's great, is it you get there sometimes it's like pumping like northwest swell or something, it's freezing? Are you guys like, we'll check it tomorrow? Or are you guys charging?
We go.
Yeah, you guys go?
We definitely go. Yeah, I don't think we've ever turned away from being too big. He's out there on a Saturday and Maggie's already out. He's like, I gotta get in the water.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll paddle out in anything essentially.
Yeah.
And whether that be trying to actually paddle out the whole time or getting away.
Yeah. Just getting hammered, like taking them on the head all day.
I mean, this whole winter I've been hearing about the hole in the butt of Josh's wetsuit, which you got to get fixed one of these days or get a new one.
I was like, the hole in what?
Get a butthole hole. He's been freezing all winter, but he's a warrior to go out there. We put on the booties. I got a 4.3. He's too cheap and wears his 3.2. Or tough. I don't know. Tough, cheap.
So how big is the biggest wave you took on the head? And you're like, have you ever been concerned out there? Like, oh shit.
Oh, that day we were out there with.
I'm sure you've had to have been concerned.
We were out there with a guy, Mike, one day on my JS black box. It was a day I got a super late drop that was really cool. And like a couple waves later, you're like, go. And then I try to go, and I got clobbered. I mean, the thing just bashed me like, it just took me down. Like, I'm pretty sure I bounced off the ocean floor, and I came back up. And this jerk and Mike are just sitting there like, so, it's pretty cold out today, huh? Like, no one was even concerned about me. Like, I come up spluttering, and they're just like, he like kind of like, maybe I hear Josh like, you good? I'm like, no, I'm not good. I just got crushed.
You've definitely taken, I would say, 8 to 10 feet.
Really?
Sure. No,
Straight on the head?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Dude,
I've definitely sent him in on a good, like, actual nice O-side, like, 8 foot, you know.
Wow,
which
that's impressive.
A decent amount of moving water.
Have I caught?
That's a lot.
I've got I think the day with Xavier, I caught a couple. Maybe like 6 or 7.
Like even the Fox News day was definitely a perfect little 5 to 6 foot day, perfectly overhead, and he's cruising on it.
Wow.
I mean, he doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. I just prepare for. So I've got a little deeper bend in my knee than might otherwise win me style points. But I'm prepared for anything between 2 and 10 feet.
You're selling yourself short. You're pretty good from the videos I've seen.
Sure.
I've seen guys that have been out there for 10 years and they're in their 30s or 40s even.
Yeah.
And they're like you're way better style wise.
That's honestly
really?
one of the cooler things for me is like literally being able to see your progression.
Nice. I'm just the truth. That's the truth.
I mean, well, it's hard. I can't compare myself. to other people.
Totally.
Right. I don't know what other people look like. I mean,
Pete, you're the best out there.
There we go. Sold. Now I will retire.
I had a question. How did you come up with the concept, and how did you get it made? When did you start wearing the jersey that says I'm a blind surfer?
It's a slightly longer story than it should be, but I was trying to
We'll go the short version.
Yeah, I can keep it relatively quick, but I wanted to identify myself, like if I'm dropping in on someone or if I just look confused. I just want, and so here's the hard thing: if you're blind and you paddle out there and you tell someone, "Hey, I'm blind," because I know there's a person out there. I hear the noise, I hear the splashing, so I can come on and be like, "Hey, my name is Pete," just so you know I'm blind. Then I paddle out again. I go, "Hey, my name is Pete." And they're like, "Dude, you just told me." Yeah. So like I couldn't do that. Like
that's great.
Sometimes I'd try and paddle out and tell like one person, be like, "Please tell everybody around here." And I can't rely on them to do that. So I started wearing a hat that said blind surfer, and no one's reading the hat. It's just too small. And then I started wearing like an armband that said blind surfer, because who's wearing an armband? They maybe look at it. But again, it was too small. No one was looking at it. So what was after the hat and the armband? I think I tried a handful of different shirts.
We had a bat signal.
The bat signal.
No, I'm just kidding.
But I think I eventually went with I got like a cotton T-shirt, and the thing kind of like...
You just wrote blind surfer.
I had one printed up on Amazon, and it started small, and then it ended up like, it's a cotton shirt, and it gets wet, and then it's like down to my knees, and it's like I'm wearing a dress out there, and no one's bothering to read that it says blind surfer. They're like, what's with the idiot wearing the dress out while he's surfing? So I eventually found this soccer jersey made of that kind of like mesh net material. And
it's not even a rash guard.
Yeah, it's not a rash guard, but it's kind of that material. And
it definitely works as well.
Where it says blind surfer on the front, and on the back is where it would say your name, because you're a soccer player, and the front would be like the team name. So it just says blind surfer, blind surfer. So it's actually just a soccer jersey. And I really hoped that people would get it, but as we learned...
Yeah, I don't know the outcome of that so far.
No, most people don't read it. I'd say 90% don't bother to read it,
definitely.
Probably.
Yeah.
And the people that do read it think it's like a brand, like Catch Surf. Blind Surfer. Like, they just think it's a...
It's actually a good name.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, they literally...
There's your next gig.
Definitely 1 or 0.5 out of every 10 people take it as actually what it is.
So if you drop in on them, you're just like, dude, read the shirt.
Yeah, well, it's more of an after-the-fact thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't know, it's not my fault that you didn't read the shirt.
Right. Mm-hmm. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of... Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if I'd even pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too. Like, if you were out there in the water in a lineup, in like a group of 10, and somebody's like, hey, this guy's blind, just so you know. You'd be like... You'd be very confused. You'd be like... What?
Yeah.
And then you're sick of left, and
take off.
I should fake it that I'm blind. I just get any move I want.
I feel like you could fake do anything and no one would know.
No. But I don't get you sighted people. Like, it clearly says blind surfer on my shirt, but no one reads it. Like, I feel like if I could see, I'd be reading stuff.
So when I surf, I mean, most of the time I don't talk to anybody. Listen,
right, yeah.
Everyone's keeping in their own little world. They want to catch their 10 waves and go home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're like, I am supposed to be out here alone. But...
Surfers are selfish if you haven't figured that out yet.
I've gotten into, I think it was when I was at Black's, is that right? In La Jolla.
Wow.
And some dude,
I wasn't with you.
No, it was me and Maggie. I went out by myself on my foam board, and I had my little armband on, and I had a hat. And I've told this story before, this guy, he was taking swings at me in the water because I dropped in front of him, and he was trying to fight me in the water and chased me all the way to the shore, and I'm like, I'm blind. He's like, well, where are your fucking glasses? And I'm like, not like that, dude.
I'm not laughing.
Like, well, no, and that's the thing. Like, it's literally just that. Like, I'm blind. Well, wear your glasses.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, fuck. Sorry about the language, but like, if I just grabbed my glasses today, of course.
I've gotten that on Instagram. People are like, have you tried glasses? I'm like, glasses? What's that? But I did. So again, this is a funny perspective, because I think most of the people listening to this, or most people grew up surfing. Like me coming from Boston, I thought all surfers were going to be like the chillest, most laid back. This is what you think of
outside of the water.
Yeah. Well, you think everybody in Southern California is like, oh man, hey, your wave, my wave, everybody's wave. Like I had
party wave.
Yeah, I had no idea that I'd literally be like getting in fist fights.
So you thought we're all hanging out after around a bonfire?
Yeah, I thought it was super
playing
chill.
The ukulele, and chilling.
One of the first things Josh said at the very beginning of this interview was talking about surf etiquette. Like I didn't even know there was surf etiquette when I got out there. I had no idea that.
And that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I just thought like if you were in a position, you get the. I didn't know any of that, and learning about how aggro some people are and how pissed that they can get. I mean, one of my major motivations about getting a surf coach was beyond me wanting to get better, was me wanting to get into the lineup where the waves are and being safe and respectful to everybody else out there. And I can't do that. I can't do that by myself. I need someone else to keep me out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the beach, how are you received from fellow surfers?
I guess Josh.
On the beach, you get good, way easier or better reactions. I mean, like in the water, like if, like every now and then you'll get that one dude that's just like kind of staring at him, just like trying to make sense of the situation, Yeah. And then like, one out of every 5 will be like, dude, is he really blind? Like, totally be hyped on the story. They will, yeah.
That's interesting.
Funny, people don't talk to me in the water,
but no one talks in the water.
But they'll talk to him. It's funny when they realize I'm blind. It usually starts with you. It's kind of, and I've read. I'm not really involved in the blind community, especially because I spent most of my life at least having some eyesight. And I read this on a blind blog a while ago, where the person was saying people talk to the person that's with me about me. And I'm like, it's super weird. And then I started realizing it was happening to me. Like people would talk to Josh about me.
It's like being a female in Sri Lanka.
I guess. But I think
I had to say that.
I think because they think like I'm not making eye contact.
I've been to Sri Lanka. So.
Do we have to disclaim that comment?
I feel like we do. It was my girlfriend. They only talk to me for my girlfriend's aspects.
Okay.
I would order food.
But so they do that to me. I think maybe because I'm not making the eye contact with them or something.
But I think on the beach you're perceived. But even then, still, they're going up to Maggie or Brooks.
Yeah.
And like, but yeah, I feel like on the beach they're like, whoa, cool, or like because most of the people on the beach in that regards are not surfers. Like somebody coming
they're
from
just beach weekend.
Yeah. They're taking their daily walk or their once a year walk in the California vacation, and they're like, whoa, cool, like what is this? And then because sometimes we'll have an umbrella that has like blind surfer on it, and then we've got like 12 cameras on the beach, so people are usually pointing an eye at us somewhere.
So do you ever take the day off and not filming and just go and just enjoy the day of surfing, or are we just full blast?
We haven't done it in a while, but some Sundays, if anything, I always like to take the GoPro out there just to get
even if it's a Sunday
days.
that we're just trying to chill, like we figure we might as well put something on tape.
Okay.
I mean, it's been quite some time since I've not had a camera pointed at me.
How many people are following you guys on YouTube?
We're closing in on 12,000 now.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean that's after just a little over a year. I mean, we just did a big. Or the Inertia just did a big spread on it.
I saw that.
And it was like how a blind surfer is taking YouTube by storm. And I'm flattered by that headline, but I always, again, I'm a worker and a competitive person. I look at Ben Gravy, who has 160,000 followers, and then Jamie O'Brien.
So you have room. You think you have room to
he's got the most room in the world. He feels like.
Really, 12,000 is an impressive number.
It is, but in the world of YouTube, and again, we started.
That's his 1 out of 10.
Yeah,
yeah.
We started. So I mean, we've only been at it for a year. I just learned how to surf, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a late start. But I think for a year and have 12,000 people, and for me. Those people, I feel like our audience is certainly much smaller than those bigger guys, but I feel like they're an engaged audience because we're not just having people tune in to watch a big bomb at Pipeline or
it's not the 30-second reel.
Yeah. I think our engagement is people tuning in for the story and watching. I mean, this is what the Inertia article said.
Right,
He's like, I like watching you guys talk and learning your story. So while in my head I want to compare myself to Ben Gravy or Jamie O'Brien, it's literally the exact opposite.
It's apples and oranges, really.
Yeah. So
Ben Gravy's, like 8 years or something. He's been doing it for a while.
He has.
Yeah.
1 year.
Yeah, and I mean, like the Inertia brought
Jamie
up,
O'Brien, once again, years. And
and he's already has a name too. you know?
Yeah. Jamie O'Brien is Jamie O'Brien.
Yeah, I mean, people are following him because he's a pro.
He's Jamie O'Brien.
Yeah, exactly.
He's charging.
I came out of the gate on January 1st, 2020, barely knowing how to surf. And I mean, I'm a voice actor. Like, literally, I can almost at this point say everybody listening to your podcast has probably heard me at some point in their life. I mean, I'm the voice I'm the voice of so many things. But that's
with the little bit of research we did on that, me and my wife, and she's so excited. She's like, that's what he told the guy today.
Like all these shows that
like, you know him. No, you just don't know you know him.
Yeah.
I mean, you know his voice.
I won the Outstanding Movie Trailer Voiceover of the Year award twice.
So rad.
I worked for Archer on FXX and then won the Outstanding TV Promo of the Year out here in San Diego. I'm the voice of the Padres. You hear me on the radio for them and in the stadium. I mean, it's a long resume, but you definitely every TV I can do it. CBS, ABC, FX, Fox News. I mean,
he is accomplished.
So I try and rattle them off real quick to just let people know that I was coming at this with this recognizable voice, but no one's going onto YouTube to be like, oh, it's that voice guy. Like, that wasn't a hook. Okay. So I was starting basically from scratch. And as the people came on board, and then they went, oh, it's that guy here on the radio /TV / in the theaters. That was an extra hook, but it wasn't the thing that, you know, when I feel like a pro surfer, basically any pro surfer can launch a channel, and they'll get 20,000 people that'll be like, oh, he's on the tour. I'm going to follow him.
Yeah, Mick Fanning can start a channel.
Yeah.
You got instant
audience. And why do you go to Mick Fanning's channel or Jamie O'Brien's? I mean, Jamie O'Brien's Incorporated's a lot of fun. Same with Ben Gravy. But, like, you know, you and I, as surfers, usually go to watch a surf video to, like, watch the hardest parts. You know, watch them get the biggest barrel.
That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
You want to be astonished by, like, what they're doing. You can't
right. Yeah, and so that's what I did find interesting about the inertia was just I do appreciate us as a just surf community feel, you know? Okay. And, like, it's just good vibes.
Yeah.
We are all happy and chill at the fireplace and play the ukulele and share waves, you know? That's what it feels like when you're watching. Yeah.
What do you... I'm curious, as the interviewee, I don't usually ask the questions, but I have a number in my head. Like, what do you think as someone... Mike, what do you think when you watch the channel? What would you think is the percentage of people that actually surf that watch it versus non-surfers?
So you can't find that information out on
it doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me what if the people are surfers or not.
YouTube doesn't have a button to select if you're a surfer.
No.
So I will say this: I can pull my numbers up to worst cities on my podcast, which is not comparison to even close to 12,000, by the way. But hopefully one day. And I'm interested. I got like this little neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio, called Hugh, Ohio. I got a solid fan base.
Nice.
And Columbus,
Anybody
Ohio.
in Japan?
There's no reason. I've been hitting all the countries now. The guy from NoFX, he kind of brought a lot of people in.
Sure.
From, like,
I feel like
South America,
Japan would love you. They always just love their...
I have several downloads in Japan. Australia kind of come on board. I've only been doing this for 3 months, going on 4 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we don't want to talk too much about me, but I have these weird neighborhoods, and you're like, now how do I have this many downloads in Hugh, Ohio, in Cleveland? Like, they're not surfing.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Are they fascinated
Chicken
about
Joe
stories?
is from somewhere. Landlocked.
Somewhere.
I think your story is an inspiration, not just to surfers.
Yeah.
I think,
yeah, for sure. And that's the whole goal. Find a way.
Yeah.
Is the
for
theme
anybody.
of the episode.
That's why I asked, because I wanted it to be like I've told this story maybe too many times, but real quick, she described herself as a housewife. She lived in Kansas. She's a mother of 2, and she has MS, multiple sclerosis.
Yeah.
And she it's a really rough disease that it can erode.
You've described it to me.
Yeah. One day you can wake up and not have use of your legs. Other day your eyesight might be crappy. It's a horrible disease.
Okay.
And she flat out told me that she'd been using her MS as an excuse to maybe not do the things with her I think it was 2 daughters that she otherwise would have. And she said that she watched the channel and was literally inspired to start doing more for her kids, because if I could and it sounds silly, like, oh, because this blind guy learned to surf, but
it doesn't sound silly to me.
There's a message there that I wanted people to get, whether you're a woman with MS in Kansas or someone who's lived in Huntington Beach and hasn't picked up a surfboard yet, or anything. If you're just if you're an overweight person in Maine, not saying people in Maine are overweight, but if you are one, like,
definitely are.
What is your excuse? What is stopping you, and why can't you push through it? I want people to ask themselves
and challenging that.
Yeah,
I think your viewership is that's the story.
I do too. And we do that.
I really don't give a crap if you surf
aspects.
or don't surf.
Yeah.
It can be snowboarding, like you said.
Or skateboarding. He's dropped into a 5-foot ramp.
Just helping that one lady, I think you're accomplished.
Yeah.
Your goal's accomplished.
Yeah.
Personally.
It was not, and I do.
That's super rad.
Maybe
So
once
cool.
a week, once every 2 weeks, someone will tell me that I've inspired them to do something. We have a long.
So you're a winner. I mean,
I think so.
And all those stories, or even one of those stories, makes all the silly or mean comments totally worth it.
So let's talk about that. I was going to bring that up earlier. We'll leave it short because we don't want to give him too much attention.
Sure.
You throughout the interview, a couple times here and there, you brought up what negative people, their perception. What's the right word? They're bothering you with their negativity. It does bother you, I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm not I've been a behind the microphone, but also I've been a faceless person. I've been in entertainment my entire life,
right.
But not someone, like no one's watching Fox and being like, that promo guy sucked. I got to find him and tell him how much he sucks. Like, I mean, I've been heard by, 150 million people in America, but only to the point where they were like, oh, that's on tonight at 8. Cool, I'm glad I know that. Yeah. I never put out my personality to them. So I haven't grown up in this industry having people come at me. So it's very new to me. And then... So
you take it to heart?
I do, and I need to get better at it. But for me, so it was hard. It's hard losing your eyesight, 1.
Yeah.
2, it's kind of hard to admit that you're losing your eyesight. 3, and then coming out and telling people that you're losing your eyesight and trying to turn it into a positive. These are 3 difficult, like I'm talking, I haven't done it, but seriously, like years of therapy kind of things that I feel like people should understand how hard it has been to get to the point where I call myself the blind effing surfer. Like it was hard to admit that. I mean, I spent years trying to hide the fact that I was blind. So I've come to terms with it. I write it on my chest. It's the name of my channel. And I'm doing it all for a purpose. And the 2 types of people that bother me like crazy are the ones that are like, you're not blind. I'm like, okay, because you see what
Keyboard,
you see.
It's those a-holes, basically.
Yeah, super a-hole. I don't even... what's going on in their mind there?
Well, part of me, because what they see on the channel isn't always take one.
Right.
And, me looking at the camera is Maggie sometimes being like, look left, there you go, you got it. Or Josh pointing the camera. I mean, I could go on for 20 minutes, but the point is, Josh and Maggie and Brooks and everyone does their best to make me look as functional and competent as I possibly can.
And it's not even like we're trying to, we got to make sure Pete looks functional and competent.
I mean,
but you got to remember these guys in surf clips.
Yeah,
they're doing 100 ways to get that one clip.
Right.
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's some stuff happens off camera where now I'm a little more set for on camera. So again, what we said half an hour ago. Use your brain, figure it out. I can't see. This is how we did it. Something happened to make it so that someone without eyesight accomplished that, whether it was practice or repetition or some coaching. Or
the first try.
Yeah. But when I get someone telling me I'm faking, like I want to go find him and punch him in the face. Like that one. I don't blame you. That one bothers me because.
But you're helping, and you got to remember that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I need to let it go. But
a bigger positive than.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I just feel like they are trying to take away, not just from me. So what I'm afraid of when people see that comment online, if it's the first comment on an Instagram post or a YouTube video, so someone's now watched this video, right? They're like, oh wow, this blind guy has figured out how to drop in on a skateboard ramp, how to surf, how to wakeboard. I'm inspired by that. If the first thing that they see underneath that video is fake, then I feel like everything that I did, because people are...
Well, now it's in their brain.
Yeah.
Now
I'm not inspired because that might be fake. Like, I just don't want that out there. So I will. I literally, like, respond to people and I'll point them to articles and medical publications.
You're spending a lot of time on that.
Oh yeah, you are.
I mean, more than I should.
Yeah,
I should give them notes.
But I really do appreciate, or I think it's awesome that you do comment back to them and really try to guide them. And even then, that's already where you know where their heart is or what kind of person they are, to where they're seeing those other articles and where you're pointing them, and they don't give a crap. They don't either want to look at it, or they don't, or they did and they still don't. They don't want to believe you.
You can tell within one comment or two. A lot of, I think, some of our
genuine asks versus
I think some of
just the guy wants to be a jerk.
Some of our biggest hardcore followers on YouTube and Instagram are people that came at me at first like, this is crap, and then I showed them
around,
and then they're like, oh man, this is
And now you're two stoked people stoked on each other.
Yeah, that's right. That's so cool.
And so there's people that'll like defend me and go after other people, but then there's the person that's just like, nope, they don't want to believe it. It's a lie. And I'm like, I can't.
They're never going to believe it.
Literally showing you medical documentation of me being diagnosed at age 8 at the Massachusetts Eye and Ear Institute.
And that's when you got to go like, okay, do I care to prove it to this person?
You're not going to win.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible. So, and that's on YouTube. So what about your social media? Are people also... And do you like social media?
To like social media. I wasn't even on Instagram before we started this. I had a Facebook page, which I used to stay in touch with a lot of my friends. Facebook has more writing, obviously. And so for me, I can't read anything on anything on Facebook, on the phone. My phone will talk to me out loud and it says everything to me. So I was active on Facebook, just listening to the things that my friends were posting. Stayed away from Instagram for a long time, but I realized it was going to be important if I wanted to grow this channel and just kind of stay current.
Right.
So, which is why I'm real Pete Gustin as opposed. I mean, I've got Twitter Pete Gustin, I've got Facebook Pete Gustin, I've got PeteGustin.com. Everything's Pete Gustin, except by the time I got to Instagram, some other goober had that name. So I'm real Pete Gustin. That one,
he may be a real Pete Gustin also, though.
Yeah, he could be.
Maybe.
But he's a goober still.
Yeah, he still is a goober.
He's got my handle. But so I'm on Instagram just because that's where the most of the interaction is with what I'm trying to do.
Just a
when you tap the screen, it'll describe what I'm looking. It'll say, picture of two people standing on beach, probably with surfboard.
That's cool. So I saw you do the breakdown of how the phone.
Yeah,
I saw that video.
Yeah, and so I'm able to, when people write on Instagram, I can read what they're describing. Mostly it's a picture with a bunch of hashtags, so I don't get to be as engaged with other people's posts, but I get to put up my stuff. Maggie will help me find a good picture, or we'll put together a good clip. Everything that I write is me writing it, and then I get to interact with the people that are interacting with me. So it's a slightly selfish page where I'm mostly interacting with what is on my page. I will try and support other people, but generally I just get the description of person smiling. But I like that you put up something today. Cool. Good for you.
Nice. Yeah. Me too, man. I did it. Yeah. This is far back, but I think one of the coolest points that you've ever brought up to me, the way that I like to sometimes think about it, is just like, cool, so you have your house, right, and you've learned to navigate it, and you've memorized it, and cool, some of the outside area, and then boom, you go to a new outside area, and it's very hard to navigate, or throws you off in some manner. When you say it to me, it just makes it hits home in some way that by going surfing, and even before you surfed, I think you were having this idea, or just being in open water, you don't know anyone's there. For the first 9 months you surfed, you didn't really know there was other people out there. Maggie was describing them, but just that's such a concept to think about always being blockaded in some way to being able to be in the open ocean and free and play.
Okay,
you get what I mean there?
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one time of the
it's the one time you could breathe, even though you're having to reserve your breath because you got to duck
So your world is not okay. So your house is a controlled area. Yeah. You know where everything's at.
Good word.
Okay. Yeah. You go on the street and you have Maggie or Josh or whoever you're with can kind of keep it in a controlled environment. There's a curb, so forth.
Right.
Ocean, dude, that changes like that. You're in.
It does, but you could get thrown 20 feet over there and not get hurt.
Yeah,
that's true.
This is funny.
Don't surf the rock.
The one rock in there. He'll find it.
Part of my trying to stay in shape over the years. So I used to ride a bicycle in Boston when I could see a little better.
Okay.
But I was prone to crashing every now and then, and I would literally I've literally kept up my weightlifting since I was in high school because of the accidents I get in. I feel like I'm in better shape to withstand getting smashed by a car or a curb or a light post while I was riding my bike, or these days out in the ocean. I'm going to take beatings that other people aren't because I'm not prepared for it. And these days I've incorporated a really serious stretching routine. I spend 25 minutes a day every day doing extra stretching.
So that's going to keep you surfing forever.
Yeah, I hope.
I don't know how
so.
you do that. I don't know.
Is it like yoga or is it just?
It's kind of like a so I've taken.
Pete doesn't do yoga.
No yoga.
He's not that zen.
No, not zen enough. I get pointed that out to me all the time. But the things that I've hurt, like where I've hurt my back, I've incorporated back. I hurt my shoulder, so now I need to start stretching my shoulder. I want my groin to be more flexible. Yeah. And I've been a lifelong weight lifter. I did some training myself a while ago, and I'm familiar. But it's funny. So I've gone from a bodybuilding mentality to more of a flexibility, pliability, workability mentality.
Less bulk, more tone.
Yeah. So I've lost about 6, 7, 8 pounds off of when I was a little heavier.
Okay.
And really just tried to make sure.
Somebody lifts weights when they're talking about losing 6 or 7 pounds.
Yeah. Well, I've had a very strict regimen for 25 years.
Like you didn't want to round up to 10 or something.
I don't want to exaggerate. But yeah, I mean, I'll get thrown hard and not know where I'm going to land or what's going to happen, or even that I was about to get thrown, and I want to be able to get up from that and catch the next wave as to being wrecked and on shore for 3 weeks.
Any big goals you have in the near future? In surfing or in life? Anything?
Retire.
I'd like to retire someday so I can do some more surfing.
Anything else?
Maybe some
surfing?
traveling.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of career goals for voiceovers. It's I've really taken pride in my work in doing
you can tell.
Movie trailers. Mm-hmm. I've the awards that I won were for the Uncle Drew movie with Kyrie Irving and Tiffany Haddish, and then I won for the Russell Crowe film called Unhinged. But I've done the SpongeBob movie. I've done some Keanu Reeves movies. One called Replicas. I mean, I've done a lot of, and those are the pinnacle of the business. And then 2020 took away movies. Right. Like there just weren't any movies. Yeah. And so now as they're starting to come back, any momentum I had in that end of the business is kind of gone. And now so many voiceover guys, I mean, there's only a small percentage of voiceover people that do movies to begin with, but now everybody's going to be going for the trailers. Like it's going to get all
so
glued up again.
Competition is stiff.
The competition's going to be.
So what's your goal there then?
I'd like to get back. I want movies to come back. I want people to start going to the theaters, and I'd like to get back into the flow. I mean, it's hard to say I want to win the movie trailer award again for a third time. I mean, it's hard to set goals that high. I just want to have the opportunity to do something this year,
new categories,
and do the best that I can. I'd like the opportunity again.
Anything in physical or inspiration goals?
Question. Yeah, I think you're doing that with your YouTube channel. I mean,
so growing your YouTube channel, possibly,
and hopefully even more connecting with people in those regards to finding a way through whatever it might be, or sharing their story of finding a way. Or
I'd like more people. I think by calling it Blind Surfer, I was really trying to get people's like, oh my God, he's blind, he surfs. All you need to overcome those things is the right attitude, the willingness to try, the find a way attitude.
Yeah, I mean, you are to me. You're rad. Like what you're pulling off is, to me, seems impossible.
Sure. Well, that's that. I'd like that.
Put a blindfold on and you'll.
No, I'm gonna do it, but I ain't gonna do it on a 5 foot
the next 40 years.
I'm gonna wait for 1 to 2.
I'd like so even though it's a Blind Surfer channel, my goal for this channel and for my life, I guess. I mean, if I'm gonna be strapped to this crappy ass eyesight, I'd like to be able to have some positive come out of it, and that's why I'd like to start getting more in the flow of regular YouTube watchers, just people that need a pick me up or a kick in the ass or something. So it's funny, like, I get a little frustrated, like, I don't want 12,000, I want 50,000, and it's not necessarily, I mean, yeah, it's for me too, but I want to be able to touch that many people with this, because I'm not just showing them, like, look how awesome I am on the waves, not that there's anything wrong with that, I'm showing them, like, look what you can do with the right damn attitude. That's why I want the numbers to grow, for that ability.
Stack the odds against you, you'll still find a way.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap the interview up with Josh and Pete, the real Pete. And do you guys want to give your Instagram handles or anything out?
We just follow the Blind Surfer on YouTube.
Okay, YouTube for sure. Check out the movie.
Yeah, the awesome documentary. Awesome. Shout out to Brooks on that.
Yeah,
Brooks. Like, if you watch documentaries like on Netflix, like, go to YouTube and watch this one instead.
I've been pushing on that one.
Cool.
Yeah,
the
filmatic
aspect, the cinematography, my voice. when I'm being compared to a voice actor.
Yeah, oh yeah.
My one line. No, I have a couple lines, but I say sick.
He does say sick. He says
I
sick.
say
It is really sick.
I'm 50 years old and I say it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is the surf lingo. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining the Quivercast here.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're on location at Pete's house, and we'll see you in the water.
Well, I won't see you.
Boom. That was the best ending ever. That was like perfect, though.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us this week. If you liked the episode, hit subscribe. Give us 5 stars or leave a review. Like us on Instagram, quiver_cast. Music's brought to you by Sal Bajosa. Thanks, Sal. Have a good week. I'll see you all on the water. Later. Hey, you guys. Endless Summer box set. This thing is legit. It's authentic. Numbered certificate in it. It has a 5-frame film strip from the original print. You will literally own a piece of history. It has a specially minted bronze medallion. Dude, that thing's sick. Okay, there's so much more here. Go to the show notes. There's a link on there. Go check this piece of history out. This thing's rad. Seriously. Smithsonian American History Museum has it. It took 4 years of research with 3.5 in production, all hand assembled. This thing's rad. There's so much to this awesome box set. Remastered DVD, sharper images than the original film, but dude, this thing's so sick. Link in the show notes.